Well, Lucy and Chris play Bethany and Nathan. You looked pretty uncomfortable watching that. Obviously, this story about Nathan grooming you is being broadcast now. Are you watching it, and how do you feel with it going out on television?
Yeah, I haven't actually watched that yet because it does make me feel quite uncomfortable, and as it does for quite a lot of the viewers. But it's so important. It's so important that we do it, especially at this time. Because we're targeting people who watch Coronation Street who are quite young. All the fans are quite young, and they're the people that we want to target. So it's so important that it's on at this time to target those people.
Because, yeah, some people are saying, should this storyline be on after the watershed?
Yeah.
But obviously then you're going to miss the people that this is actually affecting.
Exactly.
Nathan, there's a big responsibility in playing this kind of role, isn't there? Responsibility to deliver it properly.
Yeah, I've become an ambassador for a charity called voicingcsa.uk, and when I met with them and the Escape charity, I met with a lot of survivors, victims of various forms of sexual exploitation. And particularly when I meet people like that, you realise just how wide-ranging the effects are and how the effects can last a lifetime. So it's really important to get the storyline right, and the Corrie writers have been really good working with the NSPCC and other victims and survivors to really try and get the story right and to really reflect what really does happen.
Because, sadly, it is happening, and as you said, it's very, very relevant and pertinent at the moment.
Yeah.
How closely did you work with victims of grooming?
We actually met with the NSPCC and a girl called Lucy who told us her story, and it was absolutely horrific. And to be honest, that made both of us like so determined to do this story right for people that this has happened to and that it is happening to. So yeah, it's just so important that we get it right.
What do you think it is about that relationship that's hooked Bethany in? Because he's managed to manipulate it well, but she's hanging off his every word, and all of those kind of physical things are motivated by Bethany, aren't they? Yeah,
well, Bethany was so vulnerable to begin with. So she's gone from being bullied and then falling in love with Gary, and she tried to kill herself, and she's just so vulnerable. And meeting Nathan, who has been so charming, and he has told her that she's so talented. She's just really latched onto that, and because he's an older man, she doesn't really have a father figure in her life, and she is just she just hangs on every word that he says, and she believes him. So. And
she's bright, and she comes from a good family, but she's very open to the confidence building and the manipulation that Nathan sort of pours on her to build her self-esteem. And what she doesn't realise, and what I think the viewers can realise, is that she doesn't read the signals. He's not in for what she's in for. She's gradually falling in love, and he's sticking around while he can get something out of it, and where that's going is pretty scary.
Dark, yeah. Because
it's not just Nathan, is it? This is quite a slick operation involving friends that are kind of closing in on Bethany. Do you think people realise that, sometimes this is a whole friendship group attracting a young girl? Yeah,
I think that's one of the things that we're focusing on, is that Nathan sort of takes Bethany to his flat where there's quite a lot of men there. We did a scene that was so uncomfortable. It was horrible.
We were suddenly back in Nathan's flat, where Nathan and Bethany have spent lots of time, but suddenly we're just surrounded by men.
Yeah.
And I think anything that adds to Nathan's credibility, talking to her parents, having a best friend who's a girl, these things do happen. These are the sort of the disguises that people take up in order to get what they want.
How are people reacting to you two in the street and on social media and things?
Well, to be honest, we've had really good feedback from the story, and people saying how important it is that we are doing it, and it's important that we're doing it at this time so that we target the people that we want to target. And people are obviously saying that it's too uncomfortable, but if we didn't do it, it wouldn't be talked about, and that's what we want to do, start the conversation. So if somebody's watching it with their daughter and then they have that conversation with their daughter, that's what we are trying to achieve, just talking about it.
Are you getting any abuse?
Not yet. No, people are very protective, I think rightly, of Bethany, but I think they know in real life there's no worries.
No.
But I think the really key thing is to start the conversation, whether it's your son or your daughter and you've got concerns, or whether you yourself have been abused in the past, or even present tense. If you're watching the storyline and you think, actually, what I'm in isn't right, then it's really important for Coronation Street to spread the news that there are places to go. There are fantastic websites. There's a lot of government and police push at the moment to support you.
Well, Chris, Lucy, thank you so much for talking us through it. Good luck with how the rest of it plays out.